Debi Silber. This woman is quite remarkable. She's highly credentialed in health, weight loss, fitness, and empowerment. She's taken countless professionals through quick and lasting health and lifestyle transformations. She's published 2 books recommended by Jack Canfield. If you don't know, he's the Chicken Soup for the Soul. Brian Tracy, and many more. She has contributed to TEDx, the Dr. Oz Show, Fox, CBS, Shape Magazine, Self Magazine, Working Mother, Glamour, Forbes, WebMD, just to name a few. She's received many honors and awards in the areas of health, business, and personal development. She has her own line of deliciously healthy nutrition bars and shakes, as well as other products designed to help her clients improve not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. She has a devoted following of thousands worldwide. And on top of all that, she's a working mom. She has 4 kids and 6 dogs. And she's been happily married for, 25 years plus? But all that is just pales in comparison to the sheer inspiration that shines out of this woman. And she is, I'll let her tell you more, but she is the secret behind some of the most influential and charismatic, successful people today and now. And she's a lifestyle coach to some of these people. So she's here today to share those secrets and inspire you all to stop sabotaging yourself. Please welcome Debi Silber.
Why are you're clapping and you don't even know if you like me yet? Anyway, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for being here. I don't take that lightly. You could have been anywhere with your Saturday. And you're also the one percenters, the people who want to learn and want to grow. Many people do not, so you do. And I have tremendous respect for all of you. But you're here for a reason, not just in this room, but on this planet for a reason. And it's very hard to do what you want well or effectively if you don't feel well, right? If you feel overweight or overwhelmed or exhausted or unfit or unhappy. So as Robin said, I'm Debi Silber, and I get people to their physical, mental, emotional, psychological, and spiritual best quickly, because who's got the time, right? And I want to start off by giving you a visual, because this is going to just set the tone and explain a lot of what you may be doing. And work with me here. It's a little bit of an odd visual, but you'll get it. So imagine a bowl, just like a real, just a big bowl. Got it? Imagine if somehow you were able to take 100% of your energy and stick it in that bowl, right? All your energy sitting in that bowl. Can you imagine how powerful and potent that bowl would be, that bowl of energy, right? Powerful. This is the way I see so many people walking around. You know the colander, the sieve, the bowl with the holes in it? Yeah, that's how we walk around. And every energy drain we have is leaking a tremendous amount of energy. An energy drain could be eating a diet that doesn't serve you, one that's creating a gut issue, one that's creating brain fog, one that's causing illness, one that's causing weight gain, right? It could be a fitness program. Either you're not doing anything, or maybe one that doesn't serve you, like it's not in line with your fitness personality. Do you know you have one? You do. It could be a mindset that's keeping you safe and stuck and small, right? It could be toxic relationships, people who are negative, critical, judgmental, pessimistic. You may be sitting next to one, right? Who knows? It could be trying to achieve work-life balance and all that goes with that. So many issues. So what happens is we leak this tremendous amount of energy. And what I'm so amazed at is many of us are walking around at around like a 50% level, right, with all of these drains. And look what you can do anyway and in spite of. So I look at it and say, what the heck would happen if we sort of plugged up some of those holes, right? Imagine how you'd show up then. How much power would you have then? Could you relate to what I'm saying? Okay, so just at a point a few years ago, I had almost every one of those holes leaking a tremendous amount of energy. So it was 2007, and I had a husband and a home and 4 kids and only 4 dogs back then. I don't even know how the 6th happened. If your kids are like, I'm going to take care of the dogs, Mom, no, they won't. I'll just tell you. No, they won't. So anyway, I bought it. I believe them every time. Anyway, I had this full-time business and as a health expert, dietitian and trainer. But I also had, and see if you could find yourself in my story, I had toxic relationships, right? Chronic stress. And I was trying to be everything to everyone all the time. Can any of you relate to that? I bet you can. Yeah. I started to get sick. But I didn't have the time. So I blew it off, right? I mean, I was, running a business, raising my family. And then the sickness turned into illnesses. And again, I was too busy. Didn't have the time. Conditions started to show up. I mean, they were slowing me down, but I didn't have the time. And eventually, full-blown disease. See, your body, and you know it, many of you, your body will speak to you louder and louder and louder until you pay attention. That got my attention. Things got so bad at one point that I had to give up my entire business with clients I loved. I couldn't get out of bed. I mean, you name it, I had it. And here I was supposed to be the picture of health. I was doing everything right. I was eating well. I was exercising. What the heck was this about? So I had surgery. And while I healed, I studied to become a whole health coach, health expert trained to teach how your lifestyle creates either health or wellness or illness and disease. And while I was going through that, I learned that on some level, the thoughts I was thinking, the stress I was under, the relationships I had were at the root of it all. So I had nothing to lose. I thought, okay, well, I'm doing the eating well and exercising part until I couldn't anymore. What would happen if I changed some of those other areas, right? The relationships and the stress and the overwhelm. I did. And eventually I healed from everything. And what I learned was you can eat well and exercise all day long. And that's great. But if those other areas are out of whack, it's going to take you down. And I was living proof. So then you come to like a conference like this. You're like, I am going to get so healthy. I'm going to learn all these things and implement everything. And have you ever noticed that maybe you learn the most amazing strategies from these incredible health experts, and you put them into practice, and you get great results, right? The gut issue's gone. The brain fog's gone. You feel better. You may have healed from something. And for some reason, you sabotage yourself, right? Maybe you start losing weight. You're feeling really good, getting confident. People are commenting. All this stuff is going on. Sabotage yourself. In business, maybe you are on your way. Sabotage yourself. Or your relationships are going really well. Sabotage yourself. You ever think what's going on behind that? Why would we do that? That's what I'm going to be talking about. And this is based off of my TEDx talk about sabotage, and Robin wanted me to talk about it. So anyway, for those who aren't familiar with what a TEDx talk is, it's where you're invited to present sort of like a unique spin on a topic that's very familiar to you. So sabotage is something my clients go through all the time. So that's what it was about. So I'm going to explain this using 3 clients whose names I've changed. So the first is Claire. Now, she's 25 years. She has climbed the corporate ladder. She is top of her game. She's making a ton of money. She's really just crushing it in her field. Well respected. Everybody knows who she is. She's just doing beautifully. But her energy's down. So she decides to go to the gym to get her energy back up. After a couple of weeks, she has more energy. She's feeling better. And with that energy comes a lot of clarity. And she realizes, I can't stand my job. I hate this. Yeah, I've given up everything for this. I never got married. I never had kids. I've been married to my job. I'm miserable. What do I do? She starts dreading going to work. She's miserable. Questions come up like, well, what else would I do? This is all I've ever known. I've given up everything for this. She realizes she's climbed the corporate ladder in a field she chose just to please her parents. She stops going to the gym. Sabotages her success. Next is Margo. Working mom. Gets up early, gets everybody ready for the day, goes to work, comes home, makes dinner, cleans up, crashes in bed. One day she realizes, she's put on a good amount of weight because she's put herself last. She hasn't found a minute to take care of herself. Weight comes on. She wants to get the weight off. So she cuts out the sugar and the afternoon lattes. And after a couple of weeks, she's feeling much better, right? Clothes are getting looser, has more confidence, feels good. And all of a sudden it hits her that the lack of confidence she had from the extra weight had her play small. She realizes she settled for a job she never liked. She realizes she's grown apart from her husband. So now she says, well, what do I do with this? Is this all there is? I'm miserable with my job. What do I do? Do I want to leave my job? Do I want to leave my husband? There's a lot going on. It's overwhelming. It's too much. So she doesn't even realize she's doing it. She goes back to the sugar, puts the weight back on. You see what's going on here? Okay. And then lastly, this is Greg, for you guys out there. And Greg meets up with the guys every week, grabs a beer, to complain about their jobs and their wives, right? And after a while, he realizes, it's not fun to complain about my job if I'm not willing to do something about it. So Greg decides to do some personal development work. He goes to conferences like you. He starts watching some TED Talks. He starts reading. He starts learning. He's all excited about what he's learning. And with that, of course, when he meets his friends, he wants to talk about it with them, share what he's up to, thinking that maybe he'll inspire them and they'll get on board. But instead, they start making fun of him in his new ways, right? Greg realizes, wow, I'm outgrowing them. They're here, and he's taken off. It would be too much to explain what he's up to if he doesn't want to meet up with them every week. So instead, he drops all the personal development work. And when he meets with them, he's drinking more than he was before, sabotaging his success. So why would we do this? Why would we stop ourselves when things are going well? Well, think about it. When you're all of a sudden faced with this new awareness, there's this cascade of events that happens. The first thing is you start asking yourself a lot of new questions, right? Questions like, do I want to leave my job? What's going on with my relationship? Will I have to face judgment or criticism at the same time I'm dealing with my own self-doubt about what I'm up to? Am I too old? Am I too fat? Or am I not smart enough? Right? You have a ton of questions. Let's use our example, Margo, right? All of a sudden, she realizes about her job and about her husband. So she starts thinking, well, with my job, I like my friends there. I know it's a dead-end job, but they let me take off when I need to go do stuff with my kids. It's so familiar, I'd have to learn a whole new thing, right? When she thinks about what to do with her husband, would he even be open to trying to, work things through and get back together again? A ton of questions. With those questions come a lot of changes, right? Will I actually pursue a new job? Do I need a new lifestyle? Do I need a new life? Do I need a new partner? What's going on? So let's take Margo again as our example. Let's say she says, I want a new job. Well, she's got to put a resume together. She's got to go out and interview. She's got to make time to get all this done, right? Or maybe she thinks, well, you know what? Now maybe it's time to start that new business that I've always wanted to do, that idea that's been sitting on the back burner, right? Are you with me so far? When it comes to her husband, if she decides, well, I want to just get us back together again, well, she's got to find a babysitter. She's got to make time. Do you see? There's so many changes that are required. And the next thing is, with all those changes, is a tremendous amount of fear, right? Think of it. All of that fear, what are they going to say if I leave my job? How do I have that conversation with my boss? What's my husband going to think if all of a sudden I want to just reinvent our marriage, our relationship? What if I can't do it? What if I can? You see? It's a lot of questions, and it's overwhelming. So what we do, we're so brilliant. We say, you know what? It's like, you ever have that messy drawer in your house where you're like, I'm not even looking at that, right? It's the same thing. So what we do is we try to numb ourselves, distract ourselves by either food, right? Or TV, or work, or alcohol, or keeping busy, right? So we don't have to look because it's overwhelming. Any of you, have you done something like that? Yeah, because it's tough to look at this stuff. And you may think, well, I'm just not looking at it, and it goes away. But you know what? Your body's speaking a whole other language. Because now what happens is, that's very stressful. So your body is saying, well, you can not be talking about it, but it's very stressful. And you ignite the stress response, which is this brilliant survival mechanism. It's designed to keep you safe, keep you alive. Like, let's just say there's a car coming at you. This is a threat to your safety, right? So you ignite the stress response, and because of it, blood and oxygen go to your heart and lungs. You jump the curve to safety. Like, that's why it's there. And thank goodness. Well, with chronic stress, that same system is turned on, but it's not turned off. So it's as if you're jumping the curve to safety 24/7. You could see and imagine how exhausting that may be, right? So how could you not have symptoms and illnesses start to show up? They do. And then you start getting sick, and look at how brilliant your body is. Says, well, I can't make these changes now. I'm sick. I don't feel well. I'm tired. See how your body's trying to protect you? Yeah. And this could be huge. This could be huge. It's almost like you're facing a death. You either face the death of who you've been, right? Or you face the death of what you now know that, what you want. That's a big decisions. So what we do is we just try to distract ourselves and just keep it down until we can't. Until we can't. And at that moment, three things happen. One of three things happens. There's no right or wrong here. One is you make peace with it. You're like, you know what? I've seen it. I get where I am, and I'm good with it. I will revisit this when the kids are out of diapers. Right? I will revisit this in a year. I am good for now. Whatever it is, you make peace with it. Nothing wrong with that at all. The next thing is that could happen, you have a life crisis. An illness, a tragedy, a trauma, a shakeup, a wake-up call. Something that for you is now compartmentalized into only one of two places. Before it happened or after it happened. That's called a psychological earthquake, right? And your life is never the same. So that one door closed, it forces you to look at that next door, right? Like you lost that job, you're forced to go look, to search for that new opportunity. Or, you went through that divorce, there you go. Now you're out there again. Or, you got that diagnosis, you're here to heal, right? So it's forced, right? And then the next one is, I call it a self-induced life crisis. And Robin was a great example of this morning, where you just wake up one day and there is just an unwillingness. You're like, I'm done. I'm just done. I am done living life that way, and I won't take it another minute. And any of you have had that self-induced? Like, yeah, where you're like, I've had it. I don't even care how scary it is. I don't care if I don't know what's going on. It's when the pain of where you are becomes greater than the fear of the unknown. You don't even care. You're like, I don't even know what's there, but it's got to be better than where I am. Right? I mean, Robin had the perfect example of that. And that's when you make a move, you make a decision. And you don't let that sabotage get you. So what I did was, I came up with a few questions for you. And these are questions that if you're on the fence about that self-induced life crisis, this may just give you some support. Because I'd rather you have those questions available to you than just be blindsided. So you may want to write these down. That's my way of saying write these down. Okay. So number one, ready? How do you distract yourself? How do you distract yourself? Is it food? Is it work? What is it? Like, let's get back to our Margo example. She was distracting herself with food and with work, right? So she didn't have to look at the fact that she didn't like her job and she was growing apart from her husband. So how do you distract yourself? What is it that you do? Like, personally for me, I would stay busy. And I had a great excuse. I mean, here I am running a business, 4 kids, 6 dogs, in a PhD program, writing a book. Like, I could get away with anything, just saying I'm too busy. But I know me when I'm busy or when I'm not. I'm just saying I'm busy so I don't have to look at something, right? So how do you do it? Write it down. Question number 2. This is the big one, my new friends. What are you distracting yourself from? In other words, what are you afraid to see? What are you trying not to see? What do you not want to see? What are you unwilling to see? And be honest here. Be honest. Do you know you're sick and you're not taking that seriously? Do you know your relationship? You need to have that conversation? Do you know your job isn't going where it wants? Is it time for something new or something better? What's going on there? Be honest with that one. The next one. What would happen if I faced it? What would happen? Right? What would happen if I looked at these new symptoms showing up? Where would that take me? What would happen if I did something about that job? What would happen if I did something about that relationship? What would happen? Again, be honest. And the next one. I want you to picture your life in 5 to 10 years. What happens if you keep doing exactly what you're doing in 5, 10 years? What does life look like in 5 to 10 years if you do nothing? If you keep doing what you're doing? What does life look like? Now, the next one. What could life look like in 5 to 10 years? If you do something, again, let's take Margo as our example. What happens? What could life look like in 5 to 10 years? Think about it. She can now be in this, her own business. She could have changed jobs and loved it. And now she's making a ton of money. She could have reinvented her relationship and they're better than ever, right? What could happen? Now, also keep in mind, you don't have to do this alone. You're so big, and I know it, because people who want to get healthy, they're givers. You give everybody. You give to everybody, and typically there's nothing left for you, right? So what would be wrong with getting some support and getting some help on this? And of course, there are so many amazing health experts here who can help you. I'm happy to help you myself. There's actually a card you have in your bag, and it's just to get on my calendar so we could talk. It looks like this. So don't do it now. But this is just, I have a free gift for you and also to get on my calendar. If anything I'm saying resonates with you, it's in your bag. When you take this on, when you answer those questions, when you're in that crisis, that's transformation. Difference between growth and transformation. Growth is like the puppy growing into the dog. You know, he doesn't really have to do much. You feed the dog, whatever, it's going to grow into the dog. Transformation is a whole other thing. This is the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. You will never look at caterpillars the same way by the time I'm done with this description, by the way. Okay. The caterpillar doesn't just like stick on a pair of wings and like, whoa, these feel good. Yeah, all right, I'm ready. No. The caterpillar, one day, it's a self-induced life crisis. The caterpillar, random Tuesday, says, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I'm just done. Stops eating, latches onto a branch, or think of the symbolism here, hangs itself from a tree, dies to what it's been, right? Dies to what it's been. Wraps itself in this cocoon. It's dark, it's lonely, it's scared. I don't really know if it's scared, but I imagine it is. And it is willing to be completely deconstructed, emulsified, unrecognizable from anything it once was. Because it's been willing to go through that. Think about it. It emerges as one of the most magnificent creatures on our planet today, the butterfly, right? That would never have happened if it wasn't willing to go through that. Many of you are in that process right now. Now, some of you may be like, I'm the caterpillar and I'm good. I'm just good with it. Yeah, I'm fine, right? But some of you, and you know I'm talking to you, if there's this like quiet unease where you're like, there's got to be something more. There's got to be something better than this. I know I can do better. I know I can be more. And usually it happens after that tragedy. Like I'm sure you're going to be hearing from a lot of health experts here. They are doing what they're doing because of a life crisis, right? You're here because of a life crisis. Because something was so gut-wrenching, soul-crushing, painful, you couldn't take it, right? Maybe getting out of bed was all you can do that day because the pain was so great. And I know, because I've been there. But you know, I heard this saying the other day and I loved it. And they said, when you're in that broken space, that's when the light's able to shine through. So from that space, you're not wasting time when you're down and when you feel broken. That's when, think about it, that's when you're becoming that butterfly. So every single one of you can have a lean, fit, healthy body filled with energy and vitality. Every single one of you can have a mindset that propels you to be, do, and have more. Every single one of you can create this lifestyle that supports and propels your growth. All of you can do that. And when you make that decision, it's a decision. When you make that decision, that's when you kick sabotage to the curb. Thank you so much.